An earthquake and powerful aftershocks have struck near Anchorage, Alaska. This was the scene inside the courthouse in Anchorage at the moment the quake hit. There is extensive damage there after a powerful earthquake and aftershock struck close to the city.
It feels like everything is shaking, and I think it lasts about 45 seconds, but that feels like half hour. I mean, just because it's just shaking and shaking and shaking, and then it starts to roll a little bit too. And when you're in a higher rise building, it's kind of swaying as well.
The governor has issued a disaster declaration. So far, there have been no reports of serious injuries or deaths, but there is a lot of damage and more than a few people with frayed nerves. Have a listen.
It shook like I have never felt anything shake before. I mean, it just didn't stop. It just kept going, and it got louder and then things just fell everywhere. Just everything off my dresser, off my bookcases, my kitchen cupboard. There's broken glass everywhere, photos off the walls. Very violent feeling.
I'm still shaking. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm just scared it's going to happen again, but it was absolutely terrifying.
CBC meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff is tracking the latest developments and joins me live from Vancouver. So, Johanna, you're also a seismologist. What can you tell us about the nature of this major earthquake?
Well, Andrew, we know that this very large earthquake struck, again, 8:30 a.m. local time at a depth of 40 kilometers just on the edge of Cook's Inlet. And this is a highly seismically active part of the world. This is where the Pacific tectonic plate is trying to subduct under or move into the North American plate. So we do see a lot of earthquakes along here. People's memories might go back to 1964 with a magnitude 9.1 earthquake, 9.2 earthquake, I should say. Not as close to Anchorage. So in fact, we're seeing similar kinds of shaking in Anchorage compared to the much bigger 9.2 back in 1964, because this happened at a depth of just 40 kilometers. This is what we call an intra-slab earthquake. So it's not at the depth of that subducting plate, nor is it at the very crust of the continental plate. It's in between that subducting slab. I want to take you back to the pictures that we're getting out after this earthquake. A couple of things I want to note. First of all, I think that we are seeing liquefaction in the area, and you can see the damage in the form of cracks, but liquefaction is when we get shaking causing the ground to sort of liquefy, and that amplifies the shaking. So severe shaking would have been felt in Anchorage, and we're seeing additional damage again because of that liquefaction added angle. On top of that, the damage inside people's homes is expected. With this kind of earthquake size, I imagine that most new buildings and buildings built to the modern building code would do well, but it's the older buildings that we are seeing major damage to, as well as major problems to infrastructure, Andrew.
And so what are the big concerns moving forward?
Well, we are absolutely still watching for aftershocks. With an earthquake this size, we have already seen some significant earthquakes, taking you back to just the latest round of earthquakes. And each one of these aftershocks is an earthquake in its own right. These are all connected to the main 7.0 magnitude earthquake. And actually, the aftershocks are helping us figure out how much of the earth actually slipped during that earthquake. So I imagine we could see earthquakes up to 100 kilometers away from that epicenter, including some large ones, magnitude 5.4 and a magnitude 5.1 just earlier this hour. That would cause additional shaking and obviously be terrifying for the people who have already evacuated their buildings or are waiting for more information. And I imagine we will see more aftershocks in the hours, if not weeks that follow, again, as we get a better picture of how much of that earth actually struck. I should also mention that the tsunami warning has ended. In the Cook's Inlet area, there was some concern. So I would say moving forward, it is those aftershocks. And again, trying to get infrastructure back together. It does look like there will be major problems with roads, gas lines, power lines, even fires starting because of this.
All right, Johanna, thank you. That is CBC meteorologist and seismologist Johanna Wagstaff